to watch the first video with Diane Hacker, who's the FCE and ERSI manager at Shasta Head Start. And she's going to talk a little bit about how they went down the path of bringing in a new family screening tool. But what's fun about her discussion is she talks about how her interest and her thinking about potentially using a new tool started with some questions. She was looking at the data she had some questions about what she was seeing, and she was able to use that as a foundation for a journey, not just to improve data quality, but to an overall improvement in the kind of information that she's gathering in the program, and then that the program can use. But also that when you start with questions and you start exploring, there could be some challenges along the way.
Hi, my name is Diane Hacker, and I work for Shasta Head Start. And I've been with Shasta Head Start for 18 years. My story kind of starts with becoming the family service manager and looking at data. I think even before that, I was looking at all of the data we had and knowing the fact that 90% of the 1,100 families we serve were poverty or below, and wondering why we didn't have any significant needs, because we know often with poverty comes needs. And so I would look at this data and think, what is wrong with all that we're pulling from the families? What's wrong with the tool we're using? Or is it the staff asking the questions? And so for quite a while, I kind of pondered that question of, what are we asking? And then I happened to be at a conference for National Head Start, and they had a tool, a family service tool that they were presenting, and it was asking those really important questions. It was tailored to our PFCE framework. And I could tell by the content of the questions that this was much deeper than the tool that we were currently using. And so I attended that session, took a lot of notes, got a lot of really good information, took that back to our director at the time and said, this seems like the answer to those questions that I've been asking. How can we make our tool a little bit more meaningful? And where do we start? And so she took a look at it, and that was around, I think, 2016, 17. We started this pilot. We took the tool, we added our own flair to it, or some of those, community questions that we needed based around our community needs. And from that, we developed a tool that we thought was really meaningful for our community, that would get to the heart of the questions that we really wanted to understand, and to get to a place where, okay, yes, they have a need, but where specifically in this broad category of job training, what specifically are you looking for? So I knew bringing this tool in, there would be some changes with our staff because this was a mind shift where the tool we were currently using, everyone's happy when there are no needs, and we're strength-based. We come from a strength-based perspective, so we want to see the strengths. And while that's wonderful to see those strengths, we know in reality, that's not the real picture always. And so it started with talking with staff about, okay, here's the reality of things. 90% of our families, you guys know them, you're in the homes, they have struggles. So we need something where we can show accurately what those struggles are, because this will be a benefit to the families we work with, because then we can identify those, and we call them opportunities for growth versus a need, because that does sound positive, where if you, explain to a family, here's opportunities for growth for your family, that does sound like a strength-based versus what are your needs. So we use opportunities for growth. And so it was definitely a mind shift, and it wasn't super smooth in the beginning because there were some who did have a little bit of a struggle. And I'll admit, even my mind shift from that strength base to it's okay if every family scores in that opportunity for growth area. It's okay, because that was the mind shift. It's going from we want to see all of the strengths that our families have to now we want to see all of the opportunities that we have to partner with our families to help them grow.